Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you are new. This is Gwen and this is my channel Home to Inspire DIY and Decor. Today I will be showing you some of my fall DIYs that's easy to make for 2022. Sit back and enjoy. For project 1, I did use 2 of these wire leaf decor that came from the Dollar Tree. I picked this up last year. I didn't get around to using it, so I decided to use it for this DIY. I took a hula skirt from the Dollar Tree as well, tore off 2 strands, and used it to wrap around the entire leaf. I did use a little hot glue here and there just to make sure that it had a secure hold to the wire. Then I took some florals and stems that came from my stash as well as some from the Dollar Tree from this year. I laid them out in a way that I wanted them to be on my leaf before actually attaching them using zip ties. When I had the look that I wanted, I laid out the eucalyptus first and I attached it with the zip ties, and I proceeded to do so in the arrangement that I wanted the florals to be. And I continued doing this until all the florals were attached to the leaves. I did just do one on camera because the second leaf is done exactly the same way, same process. The only difference between the two is the word that I used. One says blessed and the other says thankful. I did create a bow using some ribbon, burlap ribbon from Hobby Lobby, and I played around with how I wanted my bow to look like. I eventually took 2 pieces of the burlap ribbon and just stacked them on top of each other after folding them on itself. Just go ahead and take a look at the video so you can see what I'm talking about. And then I went ahead and took a zip tie and tied it down to the center of the bows to attach both pieces of ribbon. I dovetailed the edges, and the last finishing touch to these DIYs was to add the words. These are the faux leather words that came from Dollar Tree, and they're the lighter beige version. I do believe they came with a darker brown, but I am using the lighter beige color. And this is how the finished look came out. These were so easy and very quick to make, but they would add a very cute fall touch to any home. And I really like how it turned out with all the neutral colors, with just a simple pop of that yellow from the sunflower. Tell me what you think in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. For project 2, I did use the same process as I did with the first DIYs. I just took the same leaf wire decor from the Dollar Tree, but on this one I didn't use any type of hula skirt to trim out the leaf. I just kept it in its natural state. The only difference in this second DIY is that I chose different types of color palette as well as different types of stems, and the bow was different as well. I did use from Dollar Tree the mesh ribbon in that green and the cream off-white color. I also used one of those laser wooden words that came from the Dollar Tree that says Welcome Fall, and I simply glued that onto the ribbon. I took 2 of the faux leather pumpkins from the Dollar Tree as well, stuck it onto some bamboo skewers, and used that as a means to attach it to this wreath. The rest is pretty much the same process, so I'll go ahead and let you sit back and enjoy the show, and we'll finish up at the end and see what the finished result is. For my third and final project, I am using some supplies from the Dollar Tree, a sign from the Dollar Tree, as well as the rooster, the galvanized rooster, and also some of the floral stems from my stash and from Walmart. And the first thing I'm going to do is to paint the frame. I'm going to cover the words that was on this wall decor using some plaster color chalk paint from Waverly. I also painted the frame. And when that was done, I went ahead and painted over the galvanized rooster as well. I took a wood palette, one of those mini wood palettes from the Dollar Tree, and gave that a good coat of hazelnut by Waverly, just giving it a rough sort of a dry coat, a dry brush effect, not fully giving coverage to it. And I also took some of the plaster chalk paint and dry brushed that over as well. I did also use some of the cake batter color by DIY and painted over the piece. I wanted to give this palette wood, actually it looks more of like a fence wood. I wanted to give it more of a rustic distressed feel, giving it different layers of paint color. While those pieces were drying and the rooster was finished drying, I did take some of the rub-on transfers in the fall designs. I got this from Dollar Tree last year, but I do believe they have them again this year. I just didn't get around to using the ones I had on hand. I felt this was a good opportunity to go ahead and make use of some of those. And I just chose the word fall I felt that would be very suitable for this project since it is a fall DIY. And I wanted that to be the centerpiece or focal point of this rooster, and I just simply rubbed that onto the center of that rooster. The same rub-on transfer pack came with some fall leaves as well, so I just cut out the pieces that I wanted to use to sort of frame out this rooster and give it a little bit more decorative feel. I did also use a little bird that was part of this pack, and I rubbed that onto the bottom of the rooster as well, and I thought that added a cute little touch to it. When that was done, I went ahead and assembled all the pieces together. Before I jump to that, I did create a floral sort of bouquet out of some random fall stems that, again, were from my stash. I just created a bouquet that I thought looked nice with some of the oranges and the cream-colored sunflowers, or they could be Gerber daisies. I went ahead and sort of created that floral pattern or design in my hand. And when I got it to look the way I wanted it to, I used some of the floral tape that I had on hand and just wrapped the stems so that everything would attach to each other, creating this one bouquet. I felt that it would be easier to attach this entire piece once it's been connected to the frame as opposed to having to glue each one individually. So I didn't want to lose the way I had fixed this arrangement to look like. So I thought that by using the floral tape and just attaching them while they were in the fashion or the position that I wanted the flowers to be, it would be safer that way. So that's the reason for why I did it this way. When all the stems were attached to each other, I took lots of hot glue and I just added that hot glue all over the center of the stem bouquet so that it would stick to the frame. But for added security, I did take a felt scrap piece from my stash and just cut off a small portion and glued that to the top of the stems, just adding more hot glue as needed. Once that part was done, it was time to add the wooden fence. Essentially, it's gonna look as though the flowers are coming from behind this fence, or you could also look at it as the fence is sort of like a vase, so to speak. So that was kind of my thought process behind this creation. And in order to make the frame or make the fence protrude from the frame, I did have to use a scrap piece of wood that came from Dollar Tree, which I used in a previous project, and that was just a leftover piece. So that made a good base for creating or allowing that piece of wood fence to protrude so that the floral bouquet would have a way to sit nicely behind the wood fence. I hope this is all making sense, but if not, just keep watching the video. After I did that, I did have to take some other wood tumbling tower blocks or Jenga pieces to even out the surface. So I had to add the Jenga wood blocks to the other side so that the rooster would be able to sit on top of that, and it would line up with the wood fence. So after all the pieces were glued down, I went ahead and attached the fence to the piece of wood and the rooster to the piece of the Jenga wood blocks. The last thing I did was dry brushed or paint distressed this entire piece. I started with the chicken rooster. I'm using some of the Waverly antiquing wax, just dry brushing it on to the edges as well as random parts in the middle. I did the same to the frame as well as to the backing, the background of the flowers. And that does it for this DIY. I really liked how this came out, and it will definitely look great in any fall decor. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and please leave me a comment and let me know which one of these was your favorite. Thank you, and I hope to see you in the next one.